Welcome to Yoga for Vata Dosha with Anna. Vata Dosha is especially prevalent during the fall and winter months when the weather turns cold, dry, and windy. Staying close to the ground and focusing on the pelvis and the legs will help pacify Vata that accumulates in the colon and in the joints of the body. Begin by lying down in constructive rest pose with knees bent, feet apart, and lengthen your exhalation. Allow the inhale to softly, naturally deepen. Take more time for this than this video allows if you need to. Allow your abdomen to relax and generally scan your body for presence of any unnecessary tension that you could let go of before you begin. Vata often creates a scattered mind, so focus on being really present with sensations as you begin your practice. We'll begin by embracing both knees into chest to gently compress the lower abdomen. Pump the knees in and out softly to feel your low back and sacrum. Add a gentle rocking and massaging movement while holding your knees into chest. Try circling your knees around, keeping them together a few times in each direction to produce some gentle stimulation and blood flow to the low back and sacrum. To lubricate the hip joints, do some Eggbeaters, circling the knees away from each other and towards each other a few times. Observe how your hip joints are doing today. If there is any crackling, any grinding or popping noises in there, support the knees with both hands so that the experience is very mild. And then we'll organize breath and movement together. On the inhale, bring the knees out away from you, pointing the toes. And on the exhale, bring the knees into chest, softly flexing the feet in. Vata often feels scattered and disorganized. So by coordinating breath and movement together, we're able to pacify some of the Vata that may be aggravated. Also, by lengthening the exhale and by slowing down the movement, we can slow down the restless Vata energy. Vata accumulates in the colon, and so gentle compression of the thighs on the abdomen helps to move the Vata down and out. Let's put our feet down to the floor and straighten the legs together on the ground. Arms at the sides. As we inhale, let's sweep the arms through the front overhead for a gentle full body stretch. And as we exhale, let's bring one knee into chest, grabbing the shin with both hands and guiding it closer in. Inhale, full body stretch. Exhale, grab the other leg in. Continue at your pace, alternating side to side. Pay attention to your feet. Allow them to feel full of energy, but without unnecessary tension. Allow the spine to move along with the arms reaching overhead into a soft extension or a back bend. And as the arms go down, to grab the leg into a mild flexion. One more time on each side. As one knee comes in, allow the other leg to reach out along the floor, pressing out through the heel. Next time your right leg is coming into chest, let's grab a hold of it with both hands behind the thigh, interlacing them there. So that on the inhalation, we can straighten the leg to the ceiling, flexing the foot and pointing the foot a few times. And on the exhale, we can draw the knee back into chest, giving it a gentle tug. Inhale into full body stretch to switch sides, and on the exhale, grab your left leg in. Reach the leg up to the ceiling, point and flex the foot, give the ankle a turn in each direction a few times. And finish again with a full body stretch, reaching long along the floor. Then let's step our right foot in next to the inner thigh of the left and spread the arms out into a T, palms facing up, or you can bring your right arm somewhat overhead. As you inhale, tilt the knee to the right. As you exhale, bring the knee across and over into half twist to the left. Go back and forth. Inhale, right knee to the right. Exhale, right knee to the left. Add a gentle head turn away from the knee each time, looking left, looking right, as you're doing this half twist. Reach the knee not only across, but also down, so you feel a little bit of a drag force on your right shoulder. Finish this side and then switch sides. Step your left foot in, and optionally you can bring your left arm somewhat overhead so the elbow and wrist are on the ground. And continue. Exhale to half twist to the right. Inhale, open the knee out to the left. Vata Dosha especially tends to accumulate in the sacrum, in the hips, knees, and feet, causing stiffness or hypermobility in those areas. We'll address the stiffness with this one. It's wonderful for introducing a little bit of space into the low back and side body. Let's do one more on this side, and then finish with a full body stretch to even out the waists. And as you exhale, bring the arms back down and step both feet in. Now we're going to work on strengthening for those hypermobile sacroiliac joints. So as you inhale, open the knees, and as you exhale, bring them together. Continue at your pace with a little bit of a back bend as you open the knees. And as you exhale, a little bit of an imprinting of the low back into the floor. With each exhalation, draw your pelvic floor in and up, draw your hip points towards each other, engaging the transverse abdominis. Think of your deep core muscles as a web, and you're pulling all these threads one by one gradually in. To activate that deep core more, you can start hovering the feet off the floor an inch or two, not bringing the knees into chest a lot, just a little bit to put a bit of load onto those deep core muscles and see how they respond. Keep the shoulders relaxed. When you finish, rest with the knees apart and the feet together, relaxing your pelvic floor with a few deep breaths in. Next, let's embrace our knees into chest and give the low back a chance to recover, softly pumping them in and out, massaging the belly. A mild twist, such as windshield wipers, is a wonderful follow-up here. Let's put our feet down and step them apart, spreading the arms out. On the exhale, twist your knees in one direction, while the head goes in the opposite. On the inhale, come back to center. Repeat a few times to each side. Just easy, relaxed. Next, let's come over onto one side and work some more on strengthening and lubricating the hip joints. Bend both knees in, but then straighten your top leg down and do some circles with the leg. First in one direction, nice and slow a few times with the feet active but not tense and the pelvis really steady. Vata needs a lot of stability, especially in the pelvis, so use your core now that you've activated it to keep the pelvis from wobbling back and forth. And then switch direction and go a few times in the other. Once the movement of the hip joint feels nice and smooth on this side, you can switch over to the other. Support your head, bend the knees up, and then straighten your top leg out and begin slow and smooth. You can reduce the amplitude of the movement to suit you, as long as you can keep that stability in the pelvis. A technique I call don't rock the boat. You may notice some difference from one hip to the other. Make mental notes as you go along to keep your mind focused and interested in everything that is going on in your practice. When you are done with both directions, come onto your back. Embrace both knees into chest. Softly release the low back. And then holding onto the knees, do the Eggbeaters again, circling the thigh bones in their sockets in one direction, in the other, to feel the effects of your efforts so far on the state of your hip joints and your pelvis. Finish with an easy round of Apanasana, and then we're going to switch position and come into child's pose. With our hips as far back towards the heels as possible and our arms reaching as far forward as possible, facing the ground. Take a few breaths into your back body here. Allow that back body to expand. It's wonderfully stress relieving to find the breath in your lower back ribs. Often when we're stressed, and Vatas in the Vata season in the fall and winter months are very stressed, we breathe these shallow breaths that confine to the chest. Finding that back body is essential for reversing that stress response. Next, we're going to inhale into table pose and exhale back into child's pose a few times. As you come on the inhalation into table pose, activate your hands and feet for grounding that Vata energy. And then focus on a little broadening through the chest, opening into a mild back bend in table pose. And as you exhale, pull your belly in and up to activate your core as you retreat back into child's pose. To keep your mind focused, you can add a little bit of a mantra or a sound here as you exhale back into child's pose. Very soothing, very grounding. Something like Om would suffice. Next, let's do some cats and cows. On all fours, inhale to arch and exhale to round. Go at your pace, back and forth, moving the spine fluidly. When Vata energy is aggravated, the movements often become jerky, stop and go. So focusing on fluid transitions from one shape to the other and fluid breath to accompany those will help soothe your aggravated Vata. Rest for a breath or two back in child's pose just to feel what the effects so far have been on your back body breath. And then from here, we will transition on to our abdomen. So come onto your belly. Brace yourself up with the elbows. Engage your lower abdomen for a bit of support as you're getting ready for cobras. Keeping the shoulders down and the neck in line with the spine. Inhale and lift the elbows up. Start with a little. Exhale, bring them down. And continue at your pace with mild back bends. Allowing the chest to feel open, your hands and feet active. After a few repetitions, rest your head on your folded hands, and we'll move on to the other half of the back bend here, leg lifts. Exhale, zip your belly and extend one leg back and up. Inhale, lower it down. Exhale, the other. The concept of pelvic stability comes back to play here. Keep both hip points evenly grounded into the floor as you go side to side. Focus on reaching all the way out through the toes. Don't worry how high you lift the leg. Instead, focus on lengthening and keeping the pelvis level and grounded. Finish your round and rest. Take a big breath into your back body, relax. Because next we're going to combine these two together. For this, step your hands back so your elbows are off the floor but tight to your sides. And as you inhale, lift both the chest and one of the legs. Exhale and bring it all down. And continue side to side, combining a mild cobra with a leg lift. Keep your shoulders down. Keep your pelvis level. And if you like, you can add a turn of the head, inhaling the head center, and as you exhale and release down, you can turn the head sideways, cheek to floor. Find that's a particularly nice touch to add to the neck and shoulder area that can often be tense in the anxious vatas. When you are done, press back into child's pose. Use your core as you transition, pulling the belly in and up. For a little counter pose, we'll do child to table again a few times. Inhale into table pose. Exhale into child's pose. Nice and easy. All of those back bends are rather stressful on the body. We want that stress to make our tissues more resilient, stronger, but at the same time we don't want to overdo it. So these little rests and counter poses will help us mitigate and balance out all that stress. Next time you come back into child's pose, rest there. Take a nice, soft breath into the back body. relax. We are almost done with our practice. Let's flip over again onto our back. We'll keep it low to the ground where Vata likes it. Come onto your back with your knees bent again. Step the feet in and rest the arms at your sides, palms facing up for articulated spine bridge. This is wonderful for, again, reinforcing that fluid, seamless transition from point A to point B. Inhale in neutral. Exhale, scoop the belly, imprint the low back vertebra by vertebra, lifting the pelvis up. Inhale in place. And exhale, roll down vertebra by vertebra. And repeat like that. Rooting through the feet, engaging your core, pull up that pelvic floor, engage the transverse as you roll up. Stay present as you inhale and roll down on the exhalation. Keep the range of movement rather mild. No need to lift the pelvis very high, so that the back of the neck always maintains its neutral curve. When you are done, hug the knees into chest, again to release the low back, to soften the spine. We have just a couple of more things left to do. The first will be a mild twist. Put the feet together on the floor and spread the arms out. On the exhale, twist the knees in one direction, turning the head in the opposite. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist. And continue side to side at your pace. Here it's important to begin to lengthen the exhalation to your comfortable maximum to trigger that relaxation response. Vata often brings with it a lot of anxiety, insomnia, stress, and worry. The longer the exhalation, the more relaxed you'll feel. So continue at your pace for a nice long while. If your low back is an issue, keep the feet on the floor. If your low back is not a problem and you don't mind spending a little bit more energy, you can bring the feet up into tabletop. Just keep them together so that your spine experiences an even twist all along the length of it, but your sacrum and the low back maintain their neutral position. If your feet and knees don't come to the floor easily, I recommend keeping the feet on the floor and only going as far over to the side as you can while keeping both shoulders down on the ground at all times. Now that you've lengthened your exhale with the twist, continue a little bit more of the same as you embrace the knees back in with the last round of Apanasana. Holding on to your knees, inhale and release them away from you, pointing the toes. Exhale and draw them in towards you, flexing the feet. Continue lengthening the exhale to your comfortable maximum, triggering that parasympathetic response of your nervous system, the so-called rest and digest state. Often due to stress, Vatas have irregular, upset digestion. So it's very important in our yoga practice to lengthen the exhale so that our nervous system can take care of that important function. Do this as long as you need to until your exhale settles down. And then come into constructive rest pose again with the feet on the floor and apart and knees together. Now we want to build a pause at the end of the exhalation. So as you take your long exhale out, begin to observe if there is a natural suspension of breath at the end of the exhale. Wait for the urge to inhale before actually doing so. The longer that pause, the more relaxed you'll be. It takes sometimes a little while to get there, so be patient with yourself. Give yourself permission to stay a little longer if you like. I'm going to say namaste and hope that this practice was helpful to you. Thank you.